We're live. Good night, Belizeans at home and abroad. This is the Belizeans Affairs Show number 207. We, thank you very much, Mr. Will. Uh, we had missed a couple of shows, and from what I'm hearing, it looked like some of the people are feeling that we're abandoning the project, and I just want to assure that that is not the case. We just had to respect the hurricane season as it's bearing down on us, and that we had a little excitement in a few days, and therefore we had to, just kneel to preparation time. But nevertheless, we do appreciate your kindness and your time spared to listen to us and get what we have to offer. We hope that we justify your time, valuable time at that, and tonight's show will be one of those for the records, I think, as well. Um, my name is Leonard Brackett. The chairman for tonight, who will be hosting the program, is not with us yet. He was in the background a few minutes ago. And normally when he does that, he's actually loading up some kind of a tape or something for us to, for us to look at during the course of his presentation. So we're going to look forward to that as well. And my name is Leonard Brackett, like I said, and I'm just going to temporarily host until the chairman shows up, and I'll turn it over to him. But in the interim, we also have with us on the show for tonight another senior panelist, Mr. Roody Wade, who has agreed to grace us with the prayer as soon as I finish, not the prayer, grace us with the reading, scripture reading, as soon as I finish with the prayer. So without much more ado, and before the chairman pops in on us, and then we don't get to say nothing much, especially me, where I'm going to open up my mouth and leave it, make a run ahead and say the prayer quickly so we could get on the move. Divine loving Father, again we come before thy presence. Thou who art the creator of heaven and earth and all that in them are, into thy hands we commend ourselves, our family members, our friends, our country of Belize, its people and leadership, this country of the United States, its people and leadership. We commend also those people all over the world who are experiencing disaster, whether it be because of hurricane or tornadoes, or because it be of man-made disasters such as wars, slaughtering and killing people gratuitously without any compassion, and doing so in thy name, loving Father. We pray that you will be merciful upon us, and that thou may not blame us for other people claiming to serve thee while doing evil. For we know that thou art a just God, thou lovest thy children, all of us, and we pray that thou mayest help those people who have need of food and clothes and shelter. Please give them a little reprieve as well. Continue to bless our show of Belizean Affairs. Help us to bring to the public valuable information that may accrue to the well-being and benefit of our people and country. For we ask these mercies in Jesus' name. Amen. Yield to you, Mr.
Amen.
Wade.
Thank you. Thank you, Leonard. It's always a pleasure to sit in your company. And it's
The
always
pleasure
a
is mine,
pleasure
Mr.
to
Wade.
sit here and to bring to the nation the ills and expound on how we see the world and our feeling towards what is going on. And, it's always a pleasure to see that we see Belize going in the wrong direction. And we, we, we here on this program, we talk about it, and we talk about what could be right and and how we see it and how it should work. And we speak about the ills and not afraid to speak about the ills, right? Because we see it and we live it along with our loved ones.
So,
So on that note, I want to again apologize to our viewers or our listeners or supporters about the couple shows we had been missing. So on that note, and the Leonard explained why we, right, we had was to because of the weather and all that. So on that note, I want to welcome our viewers again, supporters. to our 207 edition of Belizean Affairs. And again, thank you for that warm prayer there, Leonard. And I will continue with a reading. I'll read from
Greetings, sir.
Ezekiel 13, 1 to 10. It reads, "The word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, prophesies against the prophets of Israel, who are prophesying and saying to those who prophesy from their own heart, hear the word of the Lord. Thus say the Lord, woe to the foolish prophets who follow their own spirit and have seen nothing. Your prophets have been like jackals among ruin, O Israel. You have not gone up into the breaches or built up a wall for the house of Israel, that it might stand in battle in the days of the Lord. They have seen false vision and lying divinations. They say, declare the Lord when the Lord has not sent them. And yet they expect him to be fulfill their words. Have you not seen a false vision and utter a lying divination? Whenever you have said, declare the Lord, although I have not spoken. Therefore, thus say the Lord God, because you have uttered falsehood and seen lying vision, therefore, behold, I am against you, declares the Lord. My hands will be against the prophets who see false visions and who give lying divination. They shall not be in the council of my people, nor be enrolled in the register of the house of Israel, nor shall they enter the land of Israel. And you shall know that I am the Lord.
Amen.
Precisely because they have misled my people, saying, peace, when there is no peace. And because when the people build a wall, those prophets smear it with whitewash. Say to those who smear it with whitewash that it may fall. There will be dialogue of ruin, and you a great and great hailstone will fall, and a stormy wind break through. And when the wall falls, will it not be said to you, there is the coating with which you smeared it? That's my reading from Ezekiel chapter 13, 1 to 10.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wade, for your reading. And that reading is very contextual, as a matter of fact, to some of what I'm about to talk on right now. Notice the chairman hasn't showed up, so I'll just take one extra chance to launch something else here quickly. Let me see. keep. Listen, I'm sorry. I just wanted to launch this little part here that relates to the look here. Mr. Wade, could you make
My
us a
people,
short comment quickly, please?
my people, I just like to, until Leonard is ready, I'd like to say this real quick is that we shall not let down our gods. Again, I keep emphasizing we're still in the hurricane season. So please take heed and be mindful of what can happen. Take care of yourself and your loved ones, secure yourself and your loved ones, and be very mindful on the highways. We having too many accidents, fatalities. Be very mindful. And do not drink and drive. Do not text and drive. And those who live in low-lying areas, please take heed because a lot of water is coming through, right? Especially reaching the low-lying areas. So please take heed, my people. And COVID is still alive and well.
Thank you very much,
So
Mr. Wade.
go ahead,
Yes,
Leonard.
sir.
Just
Thank you.
needed to
Uh,
remind my people, that we're still in danger.
okay.
Still have a couple more months to go.
Okay. So,
So be very mindful, my people. Take
yes,
heed.
sir. Thank you very much again, Mr. Wade, for filling in eloquently there just now. I do want to steal a couple of minutes from the chairman before he shows up. Apparently, he's not ready yet. So, I had actually asked him before if I can get a couple minutes of his time during his program to verbalize something that is of great concern to me right now. Uh, so, I'll just proceed before he shows up. Um, Yesterday, there was what you call a conference of the United Democratic Party delegates who, according to the Constitution that I helped to draft, by the way, so what I'm saying here, I hope most people are hearing that I've said what I just said, that I helped to draft the original Constitution of the United Democratic Party. Therefore, I am very substantively aware as to what the intents are. I keep in touch with some changes, and I'm very much aware of what the requirements are in terms of constitutional prerogatives because we deal with that on a weekly basis, every week of the day on Fridays. But that's neither here nor there. The bottom line is that the maximum power of the United Democratic Party is vested and rests in the delegates conference who are empowered to change even the very constitution itself and or to elect or unseat or recall party leaders and all other uh, substantive officers of the party. In other words, what I'm trying to say to you, the general public of Belize, is that the United Democratic Party constitution vests certain powers in certain uh, parts of the structure of the organization, but that the maximum power resides in that conference that has the power to make amends to, disband or take away the constitution and redo it, as well as it has the power to elect or recall leaders and all other party officers. Yes, that body also, because it's not a day-to-day management group, authorizes then other committees with powers to exercise those powers on behalf of the well-being and furtherance of the party. The party does not belong to any one individual per se, it belongs to the people. And the delegates only represent the people in their constituency by virtue of the individuals who claim to be UDP or who vote for the UDP and support the UDP. Because there are many non-card carrying people who support the UDP and who sometimes do much more work than even those who are card carrying individuals. I don't know how many are aware of that, but that's generally the way politics is in Belize. There's no law for political financing. There's no legal law requiring registration of party other than for election purposes when an election is going to be held. And there's a lot of other non-legal requirements that are left basically to the parties themselves and their constitution, which governs those parties. The government of the day does not have anything to do with governing and or getting into the business of party politics. As a matter of fact, the government of the day cannot even take the assets and resources of the government and provide them to their party base or party operatives, because that's also illegal. In fact, even the people who are in government are not allowed to enrich themselves or their family members or anyone else with assets that belong to the government. So when any party official tells another party official take up whatever their grievances is or are with the main court in our country, it means for all intents and purposes they are sending them around in a wild goose chase, because the government, the court, for all intents and purposes, will defer back to the constitution of the individual parties. They have no jurisdiction in interfering in the affairs or internal affairs of political parties. That authority has not been vested in the court, except for where you have maybe outright crime of malfeasance where somebody maybe embezzles some money that belongs to the party or whatever. Then you can take out action against that individual. But in terms of how party operates and their prerogatives or their constitutional requirements or conduct, no party official should tell another party official take up whatever ails them with the regular court, because all they're doing is making a mockery of that individual and of the process. Each constitution has ways, written, documented ways in which matters are to be dealt with within the party itself. And when party officials take the liberty of not doing their job, of not fulfilling their obligations under the party constitution, they then have no right to tell anybody else that those other individuals cannot go beyond them, or they can stand in the way and block progress of the party because they so choose. The party does not belong to them or anyone else as individuals. It belongs to the masses. These individuals are entrusted with guidance and operation of the day-to-day of the party. But they don't own it. As in the case of Mr. Shine, he spent some money supporting the United Democratic Party for his own candidacy as well as other candidacy in order to help the financing of the party. But that spending of his resources and the resources of other people doesn't mean that the people who provide those resources own or should control the party, or that the party belongs to them. Or for that matter of fact, that because they put some funds to help the party along, that therefore they have some kind of a control over the party because those funds are supposed to buy the party. The United Democratic Party and the PUP Party and any other party in the country of Belize is not owned by any one individual. No care how much money they put in there, they cannot buy it. It's a public endeavor. It belongs to the public. So Mr. Shine has no receipt to show that he ever bought the United Democratic Party, and therefore it is not his to sell to nobody else or to hold on to as a personal trophy. the system within the party hierarchy and the party constitution provides for a recall of any party leader. And when that threshold is met in terms of the required number of delegates that sign on to that request for a convention to recall the party leader and or to put in a different party leader, that party leader cannot of himself bastardize the process or claim that he does not want to be overthrown and therefore should not be allowed to be replaced, because the Constitution provides for him to be replaced under certain circumstances. And if those circumstances are met, the chairman of the party, as in this case, the former chairman of the party as of yesterday, by the way, because that former chairman was in dereliction of his duties and abrogation of his responsibilities to the members of the party, insofar that when they went to present to him the resolution to recall Mr. Shine Barrow, that chairman stood in the doorway and blocked, not because of his size, but actually, metaphorically, blocked those people from having their signatures submitted and accepted by virtue of his responsibility to accept those signatures and to facilitate the process to bring about the removal of Mr. Shine, if a convention were to have declared that, which, by the way, we have had that done as of yesterday as well. But they go around making a mockery of the process by stipulating that unless they, certain individuals, as in the case of Mr. Barrow, and in the case of Mr. Shine Barrow, and in the case of Mr. Parafit, unless Mr. Parafit sanctions, like yesterday's meeting or conference, for example, then he considers it, according to him, null and void, or illegal, or a non-UDP effort or action. When in fact those delegates that sat yesterday in yesterday's meeting were duly elected and appointed delegates. That if he wanted to know if they were properly appointed or if they were the correct delegates, he should have had his butt there, sitting down, verifying those things. That's his responsibility, not only his rights. It's his responsibility and the job required of the chairman. Instead, he pompously pretends that he can block the process from operating the way it's designed to operate and protect Mr. Shine on behalf of Mr. Shine's father, who Mr. Parafit is indebted. So Mr. Shine's father has the rights to call in his debts from Mr. Parafit. Because Mr. Parafit was supposed to be not only just sitting there acting as the doorkeeper on behalf of Mr. Shine, he was supposed to be sitting there acting as the chairman on behalf of all the party and follow the rules of the party and the constitution of the party and not frustrate it. And then turn around and go into public and lie to the public, saying things that the constitution does not allow him to say correctly if he was to be acting in his own capacity as the chairman. You cannot act as the chairman and bastardize the constitution and do all manner of evil against the process established for the party to make headway. He went to the last meeting that they had when they elected Mr. Shine, by the way, not let me not get into that part. I'll leave that apart. Leave that alone. But the last conference that Mr. Shine was supposed to have been elected, he went there, Mr. Parafit, with a document which was bastardizing the constitution and requested that the people at that convention, for all intents and purposes, do not have a convention to replace Mr. Shine until after the general election. That's contrary to the rules and the regulations and the procedures of the constitution itself, the UDP constitution I'm talking about. Because every 2 years you're supposed to have that meeting of all the delegates. He can't just go there and vanquish the rights and power of those delegates who have more power than him or any of the subordinate committees below that delegation. But he is going to put himself in that situation to get on the radio today and be trying to convey to the general public that what happened yesterday should be null and void because he did not authorize it. To hell with him. Himself got frocked by the powers that be. That is, the powers of the United Democratic Party, the delegates in session. That's the maximum power of the party. And all other subsequent or subordinate committees or organizations or groups must yield to the wishes of that committee yesterday. So I would like to ask Mr. Shine Barrow, you do not own that building where the secretariat is. You did not pay for it. You have no receipt to show that you own it. And as the former party leader, you should just move on gracefully and get the hell out of the way and don't try to stand in the way to pretend that without the support of the majority of the delegates of the party, that you won't run as strong and keep control of the party. It's not going to be tolerated, sir. You got police involved in our internal affairs to try and block anyone from gaining access to that building, which is not yours. You have no power or authority to determine the outcome or the result or the control of that building, especially as of yesterday. You have been defrocked of any such possible contemplation. You have no power and authority vested in you anymore. Likewise, your other subordinates who cahooted with you to try and bring discredit to the party and destroy the party because you guys don't get to control it and how to pull it the way you want. For all intents and purposes, you have been defrocked. Accept the fact. Live with it. You have no power above that of the delegates, who also requested that Mr. Perifit move on and that Mr. August move on. Why? Because of their own dereliction of duty and conspiring to hamstrung and undermine and create havoc in the party and trying to fire members of Congress and take them out of committees in Congress that these people are duly elected and have been appointed to on behalf of the party of the United Democratic Party. But because you guys cannot have everybody towing on the line, when I turn around and try to fire whoever is not in line with you guys. That's not what the party is created for no one person to come in as a damn dictator and try and pull and harangue the whole process. And if you're going to get involved in conspiracy against the process, haul your butt and move on. Because the end result will be a physical confrontation. But
Good
I'll
night,
leave it at that
Mr.
for right now
Brackett.
because I see my chairman is
Good
available
night.
and it's not for me to
Good night, my brother.
derogate his time. I yield back, Mr. Chairman. God bless.
Good night, gentlemen.
Good night, my
Good
brother.
night, people at home and abroad. I thank you for tuning in to this, our 207th episode of Belizean Affair. I would like to say to you, Mr. Brackett, I was in the background and I was listening to your discussion. And as a forebearer and a pallbearer of the UDP, I can understand your concern. But I do believe that the leader of the opposition should not only listen to his party and his party's delegates, he should also listen to the Belizean people who have spoken and have said enormously that they will not vote for him. With that said, sir, I would like to move on to tonight's episode of the
Mr.
Weekend
Chairman,
Affair.
Mr. Chairman, could you afford me at least 30 seconds more of the time, sir?
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. I just want it to be known for those who think that I'm talking off the top of my head and I don't know what I'm talking about. I am one of 3 people who wrote the original constitution for the United Democratic Party. Besides that, long before the United Democratic Party even came into existence as a party, I was the person who instigated the creation of what they call a working team that eventually led to the creation of another entity called the Unity Congress of British Honduras, which gave birth to the United Democratic Party. And I was a member of that steering committee for the Unity Congress. I was a member of the steering committee for the United Democratic Party in its formation. And I served 24 plus different positions in that party, in establishing it, creating it, working along with the other people that were aligned with us to help put it and bring it as of today date. I have still been working with the party to get to where we are today and hopefully beyond it, because my task right now is to make sure going forward as of yesterday, the UDP does not has any encumbrances that will cause it any additional or further delay in its pursuit of governance power, which is what it was created for. I yield back, Mr. Chairman, and I'll wish to deal with that either later on tonight
Thank
or
you.
some future occasion.
Thank you, Mr. Brackett. And as I said before, I am very well enlightened with the concern of the UDP party, and I wish them the best.
Thank you very
But
much, sir.
personally, I will say this as an elector. I think that changes should come. It's time to get away from the back and forth. And unless these parties can provide genuine people to run this country, there should be changes at the core. With that said, let me start the show by saying, tonight I want to talk about the blatant disrespect that happened during the Senate hearing of how these senators that is being paid by taxpayers' money has no regard for democracy and the Constitution of Belize, which is the supreme law of the land. Here in Belizean affair, we have said it more than once. We speak outright and blatant to show the disrespect of the present government and the bastardization of the Belize Constitution. And tonight I will go beyond that to prove how white collar crime and corruption is alive and living well as we do here. We show and tell. Let's go to the first page.
I'm very careful not to abuse the privilege that the producers give me. And I really, I wish I wouldn't have to do it. But I think yesterday's outrageous events at the Senate are an inflection point in our country. Because it is the government of John Briceño, the government of Belize, saying, we no answer to Ono. We no answer to Ono. We talk to Ono. The Senate Special Select Committee, and I have to apologize to the public for the choppy nature of the video. That is how the feed came, and there was only one feed, which is provided by the government of Belize. How appropriate that on a historic day, a usually reliable feed, not flawless, but who among us is flawless? Certainly not I. But on a historic day, the feed was choppy. So everybody will have this problem. And I think we can show the video. So it's very regrettable that it looked like that, but that's how the feed came in on the Facebook feed. We have to remember this is a government that once pulled the plug when Luke Martinez was speaking at another commission of inquiry. They pulled the plug. So when these things happen, we can't say it's an accident. So the cabinet secretary and Chris Coy went to the Senate Special Select Committee and they gave statements. They appeared with their attorney, who is also a senator and the leader of government business. Totally unseemly.
Right?
Totally unseemly.
I got no
Right?
context there.
I don't, it's just totally unseemly. This is, anyway, but it's indicative of how the government views the public. We are gods. Don't question us, you silly mortals, that we run thing. So, Stuart Leslie, who is a paid contract officer of the government of Belize, appears, gives a very short statement, and walks out while they are asking him questions, while the senator for the business sector, this is not a kangaroo court, this is not a star chamber, it's not the opposition, it's not the press, it's your Senate, it's the Senate. This is a duly constituted special select committee. This is the same type of committee that...
Gentlemen, you heard the tape. Mr. Wade, I go to you first.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And for our viewers and our listeners and the public, on our opening, my colleague, my Leonard, he had read it out carefully as his opinion and what he knows and what he didn't like and stated about that in that situation on Sunday. That was yesterday's. As for me, like he always says, we all share different views, and we are entitled to that. That's our God-given right. As for Rudy Wade, I've always says along, Leonard, he came a long way from the UD. He said he drafted one of the drafters of the UDP constitution, not the Belize UDP constitution, right?
Yes, sir.
And he should be respected for that. And I think all in the UDP, young and old, who call themselves UDP, should respect that man, right? And should show him some kind of respect, because he is one of the persons and the reason why they are here today, right? So, well enough said on that. As for Rudy Wade, I could care less where a UDP go, top or bottom. I could care less where Shine Barrow go, top or bottom. I could care less where Perifit goes, top or bottom, or Tracy Panton or Patrick Fall, because I know the ills that they have done to this country. And I, Rudy Wade, do not subscribe to the ills that they have done. Likewise, the PUP. I am not a fanatic of the UDP. I'm not a fanatic of the People's United Party. Rudy Wade want to see both parties swept under the rug or taken in the middle of the deep blue sea, tied with 10, 15 barges and sink, never to surface and on top and have any say or anything to do with the affairs of Belize, the nation of Belize. That's what I, Rudy Wade, would like to see. So enough said on that. I have said before about I call him the Prime Minister, the Courtney guy, right? Do you know, my people, I'll say this again, how many committees this man is on? Do you know how many sticks this guy carries to beat us on our backs. And sadly, I as a taxpayer, you as a taxpayer, paying this fool. The Koi guy, I don't want to go in his past. He do not, both of them, does not deserve a penny, to be getting a penny from the taxpayer's purse. But there you see, their arrogancy, I've always said, this government now, they don't give a hoot. I'll say it right, they don't give a damn about the Belizean people, how they feel. All they are concerned is how they feel and what they are getting and how full their pockets are. Right? No respect. Bastardizing our constitution. As to Mr. Chairman, if I had the power, those two individuals, as soon as they walk out that door, I would have arrested them. Those two fools. And likewise the CABSEC. Who the hell pay these guys? Not from the pockets of Johnny Briceño, not from the pocket of the UDP or the PUP. No. All on the backs of the taxpayers of this country. And who are they loyal to? Not to the people that are paying them. You see that? What they did right there. That's supposed to be another reminder to the people of this country who these people are. And what will we do about it? We will continue to see that kind of action in this country for the next 5 years, next 10 years. Well, like I said, I personally, Roody, where I said where I would like to see these two-party goals. This two-party system that we have in this country. Over time now, they're on overtime, they're on borrowed time. So, thanks. Like we always say, thank you, Mr. Chairman. We always show and tell, Leonard. We always show and tell, right? We show the attitude, right? And that is only the two of them, the three of them. What happened to the rest? You think they act any different? They learn from their boss and who they are loyal to. Who gave them a job? Who gave Courtney a job? Who gave Koya a job? Who gave that CABSEC, that guy, a job? In fact, who gave the Governor General a job? In theory, supposed to be the Queen, but hell no. Didn't work. Doesn't work that way in this country. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Wade. And rightfully said, Mr. Wade, past and present government has been reaping the country of its assets, selling away the land to foreign investors, doing backdoor businesses and all that stuff. So, rightfully said, Mr. Brackett, I go to you.
Thank you very much, sir. I want to go in a slightly different direction, and then I'll come back to the unelected one, the superpower unelected one. But let me go back to the point that I was wanting to deal with. Our Prime Minister went to the House and declared that, well, let me change it. Let me say it differently. Our Prime Minister has come to us in public and declare that he is going to give an exemption to the small farmers, many of whom had been sending cattle across the border illegally. In other words, he's acknowledging the fact that there has been an illegal cattle business going on, and that he wants to now legitimize that illegal cattle operation so that people don't get penalized and they are not classified as scofflaws or breaking the laws. I want to bust this crap out in public here and now. The small farmers and cattle ranchers in Belize who have maybe 5 to 25 and even up to probably 50 head of cattle don't always sell all of their cattle off of their land at any one given time. Unless there's a catastrophic emergency, they have lost their their flock, or some disease, or maybe they don't have enough to be able to sell and keep for their new stock or the next breed after that. So what they do is that these small concerns, they go and take their cattle and sell to the Mennonites. Because these small concerns don't have the ability to truck cattle across the border, back and forward, much less doing it so illegally. But when these small farmers sell anything, like I said, they sell to the Mennonites, probably to the Belizeans, and to all the other big cattle concerns, who can sell hundreds, if not in some instances, thousands of cattle on the hoof. So when they make this law saying that they're trying to facilitate the small farmers and small cattle ranchers so that they don't get taxed because they're not paying the tax to our treasury, by the way, that's another way of stealing from us and depriving us of the duly needed and earned and deserving taxes to our treasury so they can meet the budgetary constraints instead of going to the host and ask for supplemental funds from to add to our budget, and they get those supplemental funds either from a loan or some other sources that puts us in a bind because we don't have a treasury that have gold bullion sitting there and we can go and take out maybe a loan against those gold bullion. We are in a position where we're a pauper country. We're also a defenseless pauper country, by the way, not only just a pauper country, with your hands stretched out to get help from other sources. And there should be no shame about that because that's just who and what we are. Our leaders have not seen it fit to position our country to where our country become a vibrant economic power in the region, which we have the ability to, we have the resources to, we have everything in place to be able to do that except leadership, willingness. But I want to stay with the point about the cattle issue because a lot of people really don't understand what's going on. When these guys say they're making it easy to facilitate the small farmers them and the small cattle ranchers, like I said or explained to you just now, those small cattle ranchers don't take no cattle across the border. It is the Mennonites, the Belizeans, and other big cattle ranchers. So though those entities are going to be the one to benefit from the laws that these guys make to help the small farmers, because no small farmers is doing what they're doing. And they're the one that's taking the cattle across the border and have been doing so for many decades now. Okay? I hope most people in Belize know that or understand that to be the case, because that's what it is. And for them to now talk about facilitating the small farmers while they derive the benefits and the small farmers get nothing, that's stealing again from our treasury. Some of them need to be in jail. Now they come on and crap talking about they have to give this special person that brought in the gas the other day illegally into the country, that they went ahead and give the person a permit instead of do as the law required to charge them 3 times as much and send them both to jail so that the others could take caution and don't do that kind of illegal activity and steal from our treasury again. Then go ahead and give the people, then let them continue with their gas, and then go ahead and give them on top of that one permit to bring more. What kind of craziness is that? How is it that foreigners can import stuff into we country and we aren't getting permit even when they violate the laws? And when we local Belizeans, they go across the Chetomal or Botas or any of them, or Melchor or any of them place there, to buy one use something for their food, for them buy some food or something for their family that passes maybe on $50. They have to be harassed. Some of them have been charged 3 and 4 times the value. And some have had to go into court and had court cases against them and losing some of those court cases and have to come up with money to pay them penalties. That only the poor people have to get hit for violating the customs requirement. And even just small people, they get shot in a vehicle and get killed because they drive off with uncustomed goods. And you have ministerial people with power in government pulling for we government and violating for we local laws, the substantive laws, as well as the constitution. And stiff with a finger in our nose and tell we can't do nothing about it, and then go ahead and give additional permits to the violators. I yield, Mr. Chairman. I'm getting a little hot under the collar right now.
Thank you, Mr. Brackett.
You're welcome, sir.
Well said. But I want to put it a little farther than that, because as I mentioned before, it has been happening under both parties. The Belizean asset is dwindling when it comes to our land. The land that is to be given an alienable right per our constitution to every born Belizean. And this is not happening. As I said before, here in Belizean affairs, we show and tell. And based on the topic you just spoke about, the border crossing, it's not so long ago I mentioned how the illegal cattle trade to Guatemala that is cutting into our revenues for taxes that they are allowing. The government is the one who should implement laws and make sure that is done.
Mr. Chairman?
But it is my belief that they will not do that if they have to gain from it and they are a part of it. And I will show it now, not for my word. Let me start by saying this. A short while after the present government was elected, in 2021, this is what happened, and I will go to the video.
2 fuel tankers filled with regular gasoline and diesel were intercepted in the Calla Creek area of the Kaya district this morning. The sting operation came on the heels of information acquired by the Customs and Excise Department of a contraband ring in the west.
The Customs Department embarked on operations it lasted for about 3 weeks. We've received some information about contraband fuel being moved in the western part of Belize City. And we turned that information into intelligence. And over the weekend, officers were deployed into the western part of Belize to try and intercept the movement of this contraband fuel that's being brought over from the Guatemalan side of the country. And the officers, based on the information that we received on the intelligence, the officers intercepted the truck about 600 yards from the Guatemalan border while that truck was crossing over into Belize. The trucks were then being escorted to Belize City.
Information to News 5 is that some $60,000 worth of contraband fuel is brought into Belize per week from Guatemala and sold. That's an estimated $3.1 million per year. The fuel tankers carried Belize license plates, which it is believed are switched when crossing and traveling in either of the two countries. The 2 tankers intercepted today carried 6,000 gallons worth of contraband fuel.
In the 2 Bowsers, it's estimated.
People at home and abroad, I stopped the tape there to let you see what is happening in this country. Here on Belizean Affairs, we show and tell, and I will say this to you, this is not some ordinary people doing this stuff. Because what we say here on Belizean Affairs, they always do what, gentlemen?
Tell
Tell
on
on
themselves and each other.
themselves. Tell on themselves all the
Here's
time.
the video. Telling on themselves.
Government of Belize allowing the fuel smugglers to regularize shipment.
Yeah, I think that's another dangerous precedent. So, fuel was caught being smuggled into Independence. I know the name, or I believe I know the name of the importer, but I don't want to get to that because I don't have it in black and white. But I want to get to the principle. This is a politically preferred person. This person has a friend in cabinet, one of the clowns. Maybe it's, I will leave it at, you can take your suggestion. Well, there, you know, some people name after clown. But anyway, so one of the clowns, I believe is his friend, and political pressure, I believe, was brought to regularize, to say you get catch with all this fuel. This is the most taxed commodity of the government of Belize. And all of us know because we pay.
Yep, we do.
So when somebody like this is caught, the fuel which is contraband must be disposed of or destroyed, and you must be fined 3 times the value. That is the norm. But when you are a friend, I understand they gave the man a permit or they tell him,
Continue.
go to Belmopan and regularize this import, this illegal import from Guatemala. That is not a one-off thing. When you say 1,500 gallons, more than 1,500 gallons of fuel being smuggled like that, this is not a one-time operation. This is an enterprise.
Yeah.
This is a smuggling enterprise. So, and this is the greatest chunk of the government's revenue base, taxing fuel. That is the most taxed commodity in our country. And when somebody is bringing it in illegally and you give them a slap on the wrist, you are telling customs officers, no, waste on the time and try to intercept this man again. Police or customs, that is a waste of time because we're not interested in what he to do. What he's doing is cool with us. That while all of us are suffering under the highest taxation regime for fuel, successive governments have maintained it because it is a cash cow for government. But instead of making an example of a smuggler, the government, through political influence, will choose to regularize this import. That is a total offense to all of us who have to pay max tax on gas. And it is also a dangerous precedent, regularizing the smuggling of the most taxed commodity. So the government is itself saying, it's okay to erode my own revenue base. You know why? Una pay, end up the pay. But this is my friend, loud man. That's how our country runs now. Loud man. LOWDIMAN. That's a new policy. It's not Plan Belize, it's Plan Loud man. Loud man. Sonny, loud man. Yeah. Moving on.
Yes, Joe. So the compulsory.
People at home and abroad, you heard it, you've seen the video, and it is my belief it's the same thing happening with the sugar that they don't want to come forward and say. The same thing happening now with the contraband gas, and there might be many more other stuff that is happening that we don't know about. Like the contraband cigarettes in the free zone, the campaign financing to these people who are illegally doing these stuff that we don't know about. But what we do know about is the local Belizean people who goes across the border that is being harassed and charged for bringing products that they want to bring home, some is being emptied out. Some of these people are shut at. This is the type of government that we are dealing with that indulge in white collar crime and self enrichment with cronies. I go to you, Mr. Reed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There we go again. Um, Leonard and Greg, this not just they happen, right? Not just they happen, and you know, Jules look like somehow we think the rubber up on Jules, right? Somehow the way we talk, right? And I give him kudos to calling a spade in this kind of situation. No hold back, because they're right there, Greg, like you said, show and tell what's so how you and hide, right? So who hide from bring out the truth? Other station does hide from bring out the truth, they sugarcoat it. They sugarcoat it. So you want to believe, but you don't believe because of the way they put it to the people. But we here, we not do that. And Jules, my brother, if you watch me, I tell you, call them out, Jules, for who they are. I have said what I would like to see happen to these two-party system, where I would like to see them go in the middle of the deep blue sea and never to resurface on the face of this earth again. Take it any way you want to take it. I know what I mean when I say that, but take it any way you want to take it. Sadly, you see, like you says, Mr. Chairman, you see what they did to the sugar and all the leak cover-ups and all the thing. They know damn well what they're doing, and then they will say, for make we raise it now, we wrap up the sugar in some rocks. Make we could raise it. Because the man Briseno said this, this fool. This man does not deserve anyway, he do not deserve, okay? So because of the things that he does and he says to us, the people who pays him. Now, round that off with the sugar, he come and say, well, you know what, we want to raise it, but the only way we wrap it up nicely, and that will stop contraband. What a fool. Right? You see what you do, like you said, Leonard, with the least small scale, the small man. I know a lot of them, Leonard. I used to have cow too, right? I know a lot of them too, right? Only 20 head, only 5 head, only 1 head, only, right? They don't regularize that. You see the same man, Leonard, and they use the Lehman for the taxes. The Lehman, nothing happen with the Lehman with the taxes, because they don't see that. They have to go to the Mennonite if they want to sell. For the fools who don't know what happened, I tell you, who don't have to go to the Mennonite. The one man, as you cross the Guana Creek Bridge, going west on the left-hand side, that's the man, Mr. Friesen. He will buy from the Lehman, right? But the man used the Lehman. The Briseno guy used the Lehman for getting man big breaks. And the Lehman up north, who they have to go to? Briseno. Sell it to Briseno. And the agriculture fool minister, right? Then a big cattleman. The Lehman, no see the light of day. You know who get the bulk of the money? The Mennonite, and then 2 men were mentioned, okay?
None of who pay any taxes into the coffers.
Don't say. So, is this just happening? You see, you talk about the cigarette, you talk about the diesel. This thing not happen now, right? The man allow one amount, when he just take office, one whole container, a contraband florist to a good friend in the north here. Fire one baha a public officer just because the man is doing job. What kind of man do that? What kind of person do that?
A traitor.
Only the devil would do something like that. No. Do all these things now and give all the tax breaks and they use it like then they help the poor people, which that's bullcrap, right? I just hope that, and I don't elaborate much on it because showing and telling, Jules said it, who is involved and who he thinks involved, from the UDP to the PUP, they are a bunch of corrupted individuals, male and female. They sell their mother for a few $1,000s. They would sell their mother, I'll say this again, and take it any way you want to take it, for a few $1,000s. And that man that got elected in my hometown, that man is bad for Belize, but good for the office of Johnny Briceño. Say no more. You show and
Thank
tell,
you,
Mr. Chairman.
The man have good
Thank you,
contacts,
Mr. Wade.
Wade. The man have good contacts over in Honduras and other places. And when they want, I could provide some of the evidence for them too.
There you go. That's how I feel.
Thank you, Mr. Wade. Mr. Brackett, before I go to you, let me go to this clip, and I want to hear your commentary following the clip.
To you, and those are his colleagues. Backpack Chris just walked out. Along with the leader of government business, boy named Balea. Watch out, I tell you now.
They look back at the whole and
Not even look back while the senator is asking questions. And again, these are not political people, man. Right? But we no answer to no. We tell no. So he goes in there, makes an accusatory, offensive statement, impugning on the ethics of the chair. Impugning on her ethics, alleging thing about conservation background, and then he start talking about the investment climate. Investment, how about the democratic climate, Chris Coy and Stuart Leslie? If you all show up to work today, and he's often out of the country, Chris, if you all show up to work today, it is an offense to the taxpayer. Do not pass go. Once you do that, you just say, I can't pass go again. I'm done. Stuart Leslie and Chris Coy, your continued employment by the government and people of Belize is an offense to democracy. Oh no, not a doing a job. At least go up there and entertain us. So I want to refer to the last Senate Special Select Committee.
There goes our tax dollars through the door. We pay them for do that the way.
Mr. Brackett.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wade. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I take pleasure in pointing out what these jackals, hyenas, vultures, vipers, and drunkos, they are doing to us. I take pleasure in pointing it out. You know why? Their action befits exactly my description of their conduct. It saddens me to know that that's what we're boiling down to have these jackals take advantage of our country and its people the way they are doing, because according to them, they are above the laws. They are untouchable. And they can do just about whatever they want, and to hell with anybody else. These idiots are going to come to our Senate, or venerable Senate at that, as members of the Senate, a few of them as well, and bring one whole chicky chick pan or whatever we call it, and throw that all over for we Senate, and then walk out Who do they think they are? Seriously speaking, who the hell do they think they are? Is money that important to them? They have no morals? And a couple of them come in there talking craziness about morals? That word should not come out another their mouth. They don't understand and know the meaning of the word moral. They don't conduct themselves with any level of morality, decency, professionalism, ethics. These guys are devoid and completely short of any of those values or virtues. Yet they have the gall to walk in of we Senate, duly constituted Senate investigation and behave in that manner. And the so-called unelected one, Mr. Courtney, who wields more power than some of the elected officials them, especially those who are in the backbench, by having been appointed to and given the opportunity to control more than 2 different portfolios in our government, or branches or section of our government, while at the same time acting as the lead senator in our Senate on behalf of the government, getting paid by us, not having been elected, and occupying more powerful position than even some of the other ministers themselves. For him to have that level of gall to show up at our Senate as a lawyer, by the way, getting extra paid by us, besides the payment where we've done the payment already, to come and defend his colleagues and get additional money out of we for services or legal payments to him. For that kind of shitty behavior, he don't have no respect for himself, much less for us and our Senate or our institutions of governance that he supposedly represent, and to the Prime Minister that's supposed to be all right. To Mr. Stuart Leslie, who claims to be the Deputy Governor General, that is all right. To Mr. Stuart Leslie, who sits his ass in cabinet as Cabinet Secretary, to come to our Senate and conduct himself in such disorderly manner, to him, that is all right. And to all the other cabal of treacherous mobsters, I would call them, because that is actually how they are conducting themselves and our affairs, as if they were mobsters without any accountability and are untouchable. What the hell is wrong with these people? Do they not understand that even though they are unelected, that even the Prime Minister himself and any other minister that is elected can be recalled? They don't understand the politics of our nation and the laws of our nation, because according to them, they are above our laws. They are above our constitution. They bastardize our constitution. They pretend that it doesn't even exist in some instances, or that there's no fear in them to behave contrary to what the constitution demands that they do, such as to provide policies of state that accrue to the welfare and the benefit of the people in the state. They have been allowed to get away with so much craziness from since they came back in this term of governance, to the point now where Mr. Belizean has no need to holler at his colleagues and tell them, bring back some of the money that they stole. I wonder who won't be the one to bail the cat this time wrong, to tell these jackals and these kleptocrats to bring back some of the money that they have misappropriated. Because every time they go to the house, it includes some money bill that puts us further in debt, and the money being put in the budget to take care of some items are being spent without those items being properly returned to us. Not to say the least about the rest of our patrimony, as in the instance of the assets of lands like Gregory and Mr. Wade just spoke about. They take our national wealth and our national assets and accrue it to themselves and other foreigners who suborn them with a little money on the side or a little percent of the foreigners' investment. Belizeans, you love it the way it is. I can't force you to do anything or to expect otherwise. All I could do is say good luck to you, and I hope you're a little happier by choosing to have these jackals continue to run roughshod over us and over you as well. Because at the end of the day, these guys don't pay no taxes. They have their own business. They get their payment from government in addition to other stipends. They have their own business that they run, that they're hustling from as well. And you, the Belizean public, is just getting shafted every day, every hour, every minute, every second, and nobody give a damn about you. Good luck.
Thank you, Mr. Brackett. I will go to another tape, people at home and abroad, and when I'm finished with the tape, I will make a comment and have my colleague, my virtual colleague, do their final closing comment.
Is that a conflict of interest for you to be
Leader of
representing
government
these
business.
two gentlemen as the leader of government business still?
Why?
Because you are representing the government in the Senate and then you're representing two government officials.
Where's the conflict?
The seamlessness of it, or the unseamlessness of it, these are your colleagues, and you're appearing in an adversarial position against them, and we know the collegiality of the colleagues in the Senate.
I do not understand that there was any adversarial appearance yesterday. These two gentlemen were invited to appear before the Senate. They accepted the invitation. They attended. They gave their statements and indicated that they would not have any further evidence to give. And on the basis of my advice, we left.
Sir, you have participated in a Senate hearing in 2017. You saw the parade of ministers that went through. Substantive questions were asked, led by you. Don't you think that these persons should also be fundamentally answerable for their public actions?
They are fundamentally answerable for their public actions. The issue that we have to pay attention to is what is being inquired into and whether there is any evidence, relevant evidence, that the Cabinet Secretary has to give and whether there is any relevant evidence that Mr. Coy has to give. If the Senate Select Committee believes that the position that they have taken is not the correct one, they know what to do. The position is, in my view, speaking for myself, I think that the inquiry needs to be brought to an end. It is costing tens of thousands of dollars, taxpayers' money, and it is on a frolic. Until Mr. Contreras goes before that Senate Select Committee, we are wasting public resources. That is my settled opinion, personally.
Isn't it though a slap in the face to the Belizean public to have these two individuals walk out of the Senate inquiry? You had Hugo Pat, who spent perhaps an hour or more just responding, I cannot recall. Isn't that at least what the public deserves?
I think that's a charade. I think for you to bring somebody who says I won't answer a question and ask a person 10, 15, 20 questions so that the person simply says I'm not going to answer, I'm not going to answer, seems to me to be quite a charade. And there is no way that I would advise my clients to participate in that.
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead,
Just for
Mr.
us to make a
Brackett.
comment when you're finished. Were you going to add something before you allow us to
He
Wayne?
said he was going to comment, then
Go ahead.
yeah.
Yes,
Go ahead, sir.
what I wanted to say, it is my belief, and based on my belief, per our supreme law of the land, which is the Constitution, whenever you have lawyers working for the government, we should pass laws that their firms do not represent foreign entities. Because with past and present lawyers, these are the same Belizeans, born Belizeans, that is gaining from the taxpayers' money. As within him and his colleague, Mr. Cowie, who works from the same law firm, the question is still there as to how much they gain from the taking over of the post from Mr. Ashcroft. Then here we go. This is the same gentleman who is now representing the Honduran company, Carlos, which is again will have to do with taxpayers' money. I think, Belizean, we need to put an end to this, because it is my belief that this is white collar crime. And making even more substantive is because there's no separation of powers, and everything that is being done in this country at present is being done under executive power, who is protecting these individuals, as you have heard from the Prime Minister mouth. VIA live telecast and Channel 7 that he thinks there should not be a Senate hearing because they have nothing to hide. Here we hear it again from the lead senator. So, as I said, they always telling themselves they know exactly how to protect each other. Mr. Brackett.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I want to go directly to the unelected one, who, according to him, is above the very laws that he swore to uphold and swore fidelity to when he became a member of the bench, not the bench, a member of the legal profession. He swore as an officer of the law to uphold the law. He didn't swear to break the law or to encourage or help anybody else circumvent or break the law, because that would be contrary to his to the professional ethics and codes that he swore allegiance to uphold. So why should this kleptocrat, and the reason for the term kleptocrat associated with him is that he got his millions of dollars from us through Mr. Ashcroft suing us and winning cases. He helped Mr. Ashcroft to win cases against us through his professional efforts. But having gotten as many millions as he did through the many cases that Mr. Ashcroft won and that we had to pay money out of, we think, to the tune of almost $1 billion. If his retainer fee is 10% of $1 billion, how much would that be? 100 million, right? I know Mr. Ashcroft now giving $100 million for legal services. So let's say it's 1%. 1% of $1 billion is how much? About $10 million, right? Right? So even if the man get paid at the lowest possible level, which most lawyers get about between 2 and 2.5, depending on their level of legal professional standings, or they get maybe sometimes up to 5%, depending on the size of the case, or the amount of money involved. The bigger the money, the less percentage they get. But I want to get back to the point as to the reason for the term kleptocrat associated with this particular idiot. I classify him as an idiot because he comes to us and lies to us in our face and then turn around and said that he would not advise his client to fulfill their obligation, which then says that he's aiding and abetting a client to commit a crime. Take a salary for doing a job that they failed to do and are in question by the authorities that are entitled to question them about that public job, government job that they get a salary for, and they turn around and bastardize their effort. They are not supposed to be given any account of the wrongs that they do. They're not supposed to tell on nobody else. They're supposed to be provided with an option to not show up or throw the shit around in the committee or in the meeting and then walk out and pretend that walking out is an option. That should not be an option for them. Mr. Courtney should not be able to be in a position to say that he would advise his client to walk out, because then he should be sanctioned for such contemptuous behavior to a duly constituted committee of the Senate, especially investigating graft or financial issues, or for that matter of fact, any government failure issues. They're answerable, and he acknowledged himself that they're answerable, but he is advising them to not answer. His ass should be in jail as well, regardless of his professional ethics or competence or his professional credentials. That is, to give service to any person that requires it and can afford it. The person that he's representing is affording his legal fees through us, the government, because that person works for the government, and it is the government that's paying that person's legal fee, not himself, not the gentleman, or Mr. Belizean, or any other boy. Or Mr. Courtney is not assisting him for free. They are billing us for the time that he is assisting. So how the hell these kleptocrats, as a matter of fact, the term kleptocrat also adds in to him getting inheritance from his family's estate and refusing to pay the damage or the bill that his father owes our government and our people. He's a kleptocrat. He's interested in acquiring resources, whether from the government or any other sources, for himself, and to hell with anybody else. That's what a kleptocrat is. More so than a kleptocrat, he's a damn mafia. They all go into cabinet and consult and talk and discuss these matters, how to frustrate the other branches of government from doing their job and probably finding them in contempt. They are criminally contemptuous of us as Belizean. But I'll yield to that because I will have other opportunities to speak on that in those matters.
Thank you, Mr. Brackett. Mr. Weir,
Thank you, Mr.
I go to you for your comments and the closing.
Bunch of idiots.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. It's always a pleasure. I'm Leonard. To compound on what you just said, I, Roody Wade, would like to see that, a law passes that when people like that guy, those guy, the Prime Minister, behaves in that kind of manner, that should be a law. I would like to see a law that they'll get arrested immediately for what they do, right? That's the law I would like, because, like you said, Leonard, they are being paid by the taxpayers. We demand, and they will tell you, like, we don't have to. Like, you listen to Jules, right? And then, right, what she said, they don't hold no loyalty to us, right? They don't have to, right? So that's why I say there should be a law that when these people, like who we beholding.
Mr. Wade, if I may, Mr. Brackett, I would like to ask your permission for us
Yes,
to
sir.
go a little bit, a few minutes over, because Mr. Wade, I want to prove to you there is a law. Just that the law only works for some people. I will prove it to you and the people at home and abroad because
Go right
we
ahead.
always show and tell. I want you guys to listen to this here.
The matter on Reggae Street, it's a tough one for us. And the police did not break into nobody's house, as you have alluded to.
I saw them on the
I will
video.
explain to you. Our investigation team was in the area canvassing, looking for evidence. There was a house in the area that have surveillance camera. The police went there and they refused to cooperate with the investigators in terms of getting the surveillance footage. I was contacted and I told the police, get a search warrant under the Indictable Procedures Act, which states that the police can go and search and confiscate any evidence that can be used in a criminal investigation. So on
Gentlemen and people at home and abroad, you heard it for yourself. But you know
Another
why it
idiot.
will not happen?
Another idiot.
Because he's a part of it.
Wow.
He's hired by them. You heard he said it. The police commissioner has the right, because of that Senate hearing,
He
to
has a
get
right to break
the
the
same
law.
warrant and go fast
Jack.
for the evidence for that proceeding.
Mr. Chairman,
It will not happen.
a small
I
comment
go
on
back to
this
you, Mr.
particular issue.
Wade.
Oh, sorry.
You want to say something, Leonard? Go ahead.
Yes, sir. On this
Because I'll
particular
take 2
issue.
minutes and I will wrap
And
up.
this goes directly to our so-called commissioner of police, because I used to know that police commissioners were honorable people. They were not people who were scofflaws, barefacedly so, who would break the law in order to, like they say, carry out their responsibility, to exercise judgment and bring vengeance on people who are lawbreakers. His ass should have some vengeance being brought against him for breaking the law himself and for giving an illegal order. Because that's what he did when he authorized his subordinates to break into those people's place and go and find that tape by any means necessary. The Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and it says that no government officials or anyone has the right to violate anybody's premises. And under the Indictable Procedures Act, the police is not supposed to be given any powers above that of what the Constitution allows them. In other words, not because they are police, that means that they should throw away the Constitution or just dispense or pretend that the Constitution doesn't exist, and they make up their own laws or make their own decisions
Mr. Brackett, if
contrary
I
to the
may,
Constitution.
under the
Damn crazy.
Indictable Procedures Act, if a crime was committed or is committed, a warrant can be served for the police to go find the evidence. And that should be used within the Senate hearing as well as any other criminal offense. The illegal gas coming across the border,
Yes.
the illegal sugar trade. When have the police
They're not applying
ever
it.
went?
They're not applying, none of those laws were supposed to be
Okay.
applied.
Anyway, back to you, Mr. Wade.
Thank you, Greg, for showing and tell and from their own mouth. From their own mouth. So my people at home and abroad, there we go. This is what we got 2024. And this is just not starting. This has been happening to us for decades. So my people, I say this to say that, in the next election, if you want all this to change, get rid of this two-party system that we have. And I promise you that all these criminals, past and present, that we have in government will be held accountable. I call them criminals because they
That's what they are.
do a lot of things against us. And they use us to profit their own selves, right? So they are criminals. A lot doesn't know them, but a lot of us know these criminals in government. A lot of us know them. And they keep recycling themselves. So I say this to say that
Mr. Wade,
if...
Can I interrupt you, sir, just for a second? The reason why they are criminals is because they commit white-collar crime under the guise of being a government or officers of the government who do not hold themselves accountable to the laws of the land. I yield back, sir. I want to say more, but I have to yield back.
Thank you. And again, thank you, Greg, for showing and tell. And my people, I leave you with this. In the next election, if you want all this to change, I promise you, right, that there is an entity out there who is ready to change this country around and bring it back to the people, and do right by people, and hold these people accountable. I don't care if they're 90, 95, 100, 200. Once you commit a crime and you think you got away with it, we have the evidence to show you this is what you have done. You will be held accountable. So my people, if you want a change, the Belizean justice movement will be your savior for the next general election, and it will be the savior of Belize. If not, turn to your two-party system, vote your UDP, vote your PUP, and live with it. What if you want a change? Change will be there on that ballot in the next election. And to my people, Botatuma Brad, thanks for your support, watching us, because we talk truth and power to nation. Thanks to Gregory for showing and tell, and always a pleasure, Leonard, to be in your company. Thank you, my brother, for holding steadfast, and we call a spade a spade. We don't dilute, dissect. If you're ready, ready. If you're blue, you're blue. If you're hurt, you're hurt. And if you're bad, you're bad. And if you're good, you're good. We say it like that, and that's what we mean. Thank you, Greg, Mr. Chairman, for tonight, and thank you, Leonard.
Thank you, Mr. Wade. That is what, as an elector, we call democracy under our Constitution. I leave you with that tonight, people at home and abroad. Have a great night.